This is Armada Megatron, a great figure, and this is, okay. This is the Mastermind Creations Ocular Max IF-01X Ares Armadon. That's a mouthful. Put it on a Star Wars text crawl. You could also just call her E-Girl Megatron. I imagine she still has David K's voice.
You are a freak.
This is a modified version of their 1F-01A Tarn figure, which is a female version of Tarn. And this figure blew me away with how great it is. Like, look at this. The treads for the tank mode are fully functional. This is amazing and satisfying to do. This was sent to me by TF Safari. Make sure to use this affiliate code for 3% off. This figure looks and feels amazing. She has some decent weight to her. Never say that to a woman, by the way. And I didn't expect it to be this heavy when I took it out of the box. The quality of the material this is made from is really nice, and there is a decent amount of die cast on this figure. And the colors for some of the die casts blend in pretty well instead of just being a regular metallic silver. There's definitely some on the feet as well as this part back here. And there's most likely some inside the figure as well. Aesthetically, I think this figure looks amazing. The sculpt work is fantastic. It's not overly done and has the right amount of detail to it. The proportions are nice, and side by side with the Legacy Armada Megatron, you can see a lot of what they took in the original Armada design to put onto this figure. More on that later. I like how this figure takes the concept of turning Megatron into a fembot character.
Female.
I'm surprised they didn't really over-sexualize this figure in any way like how other third-party companies do. Like, why would anyone do that? Anyways, if TF Safari, if you could get that nice C back in stock for me, thank you. In all seriousness, the amount of restraint they must have had to not sexualize this figure is pretty impressive. And as much as I do like sexualized figures, I can respect that they didn't go this route for this figure, because it's not always necessary to do that. But if they did, I mean, you know, it's not like I would be complaining. Also, there is quite a decent amount of paintwork on here. Some of the purple is paint, along with the silvers, grays, and orange, some of the green, and then there's also quite a bit of blue paint on this figure, which wasn't really there in the original Armada Megatron design, but I do think it looks nice here. In terms of accessories, there's not a whole lot. We get this blaster, which also double as the cannons for the vehicle mode, and that's really about it. For the price point, I kind of wish this figure had more things that came with it. A Leader 1 figure would probably be too much to ask for. Maybe some changeable faceplates or extra weapons. I think I'm just being greedy at this point, because the base mode for the robot itself is already a lot and pretty intricate. Like, I can't get over the treads. We do get a stat card. It basically says the exact same thing as it does on the box. We also get this red piece of plastic, so you can't see the stats on the back of the box. It's kind of like how it was with the old G1 figures. If you remember that, you're probably old. There's also instructions, but it's in a fold out, and my god, it is long. It should have been a booklet. While we're at it, let's take a look at the box art. I really like the artwork of Megatron over here. This is really hard to read, but it's in English. It says infinite finity. Weird. Here's a quick look at the side of the box art. A look at the other side. This artwork is really nice with a close-up of her. And here's a look at the back. And I love the Animorph style transformation sequence going on. So the articulation on this figure is absolutely fantastic, I think. But because of this piece, she is going to be a little bit back heavy, so you kind of got to make her do that smooth criminal lean. Luckily, the die cast in the legs does kind of help keep the figure a bit stable, not as much as I wish it did. And a weird thing I noticed is that right over here, the box art shows the heels can kind of come out like that. But unfortunately, on this figure, they don't come out like that, which would have been really nice to have to keep this figure more stable. So the head sculpt on this figure, it's so fantastic. The antennas come separately, and this is about as good as I can get them to be on all the way. The sculpt work from everything from the head to the antennas to the faceplate all look great. There's also a lot of fantastic paintwork on here. I love the colors on it, and I think the faceplate looks really great with a little bit of designs going on around the mouth, some nice purple lips, and orange eyes. The head sculpt is basically the Armada design, but slimmed down a bit, which is honestly basically the entire figure. And here are the head sculpts side by side. As you can see, the inspiration is there, even though they are a little bit different. The chest piece looks really great. It incorporates similar elements of the original design, but I guess in a more feminine way, and it's done really well. The Decepticon insignia area is the same, as long as the side pieces as well as the abdomen pieces. The paint job on here is also really great, and yes, she does have boobs. Compared to the original, that is how it looked side by side. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of similarities. One thing I did notice is that the chest piece doesn't have that asymmetry as it does on here. Not really a big deal. Now the shoulder pieces look fantastic. They aren't as high up as they are on the original design, but I do think they look nice here. Quite a bit of blue paint on the side as well as some orange. It's not like that on the Legacy Armada figure, and I don't think it was like that on the original design, but it's not bad to have on this figure. And I do do like some of that detail going on. And with the treads, I love how they do that. One thing this figure doesn't have for the shoulders is that flap that the original design had. The rest of the arms do look pretty nice, fairly basic though. One thing I do like is how the hands all have individual articulation to them. That is really nice. It does make things a little bit hard to grab at. I do like this little touch of orange for the elbow joint over there. The crotch area is very angular and it has some nice paintwork. The leg sculpt is honestly amazing. I love the little bits of detail they threw on here. Now obviously a lot of the design isn't going to be a one-to-one. This figure is much slimmer with different proportions and based off an entirely different mold. We do have some knee pads which are really cool, and I like the little triangles pointing down. Pretty good looking leg sculpt for the rest of the figure, and the toes do look quite similar to the toes on the original, and I do believe they are die cast as well as this piece back over here. Also, the legs basically form like the top part of the tank, so when you're transforming this figure, they kind of stick out and it looks kind of funny. Now turning the figure around to the back, having the other parts of the tank mode be up here at the back does give this figure kind of a backpack, and when you look at it from the side and from the back, this area does seem kind of empty, but from the front I do think it does look kind of nice. On one hand, I'm not fully sold on the backpack piece. It can kind of look awkward at times, but on the other hand, I'm surprised the backpack piece isn't like incredibly massive and the rest of the transformation actually incorporates into other parts of the figure, so it's not a shell former like that little B figure. Now you can mistransform the back and orientate it in different ways to where it's not as bulky and from the top, and if you do bring these around and out to the side like that, we can take off these pieces from the blaster and we can attach this over here, the other one on this one. We do get some side cannons similar to the original design, and we can flip them over to the top if that is something we wanted to do. And the connection on these is pretty tight. Now for the articulation, we can move this head back and forth. We can spin it around as well. The antenna pieces over here, they can also rotate mainly as part of the transformation. Treads can spin. The arms can move out to the side. They do kind of run into the head. Rotation over there. These can shift down like that as well. You get a rotation over here, an elbow bend, which goes about 90 degrees. Hand rotation, the hands can move back and forth. Once again, we do get individual articulation. At the bottom, we do get a waist rotation that pretty much goes from side to side only. We do get an ab crunch as well. This can also move side to side. These legs can move out all the way up there, and we can pretty much spin them all the way around. We get a rotation over here, another rotation over here, a knee bend, foot rotation or ankle movement. Feet can move up and down, and then we get some toe movement as well. The heels can also move. I think that's everything. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, otherwise I will seem like an idiot. Now let's move on to the figure's transformation and the vehicle mode. So I've only transformed this figure twice, so let's see if I remember it. It is fairly easy, just a little bit involved. First we want to make sure that the hands are not backwards. First we want to make sure that the hands are in a fist like that. Same with this one. Next we're going to take these pieces on the side and bring them up. This essentially locks the waist into place. Make sure it's fully tabbed in. Take these arm pieces and separate them, push this back and rotate the arm to where this piece tabs into there. Rotate that, get that in there, and close this up to where it properly lines up like that. And do the same over here. Tab that in, close that up, flip the figure over. We'll take these pieces, close them in. Same with this, close that in. Make sure we bring them out and down over there. Same here, bring that out and down. Make sure they go under the legs. Bring the legs up like that. Open that chest piece, open that back piece. Bring this up and over, same over here, and we can tab that together. We'll worry about that later. We'll take these pieces now, bring them back, and these will essentially shift up. And there is a tab over there that's supposed to tap into that. Get that in there. Get this to line up. Rotate that hand around. We're gonna do the same over here. Make sure that lines up. For the head, we can rotate it this way and bring the antennas back all the way down. And this covers up the head over there like that. I'm gonna adjust everything real quick. Okay, I finally got everything tabbed in. That part can be a bit tedious and it looks really funny like this now. But now what we can do is we're going to come to the feet. We're going to close that in. Same over here. Get that in there. And now we rotate this leg around. Make sure this is bent like that. Close that up. And this part needs to come around and tab into that. Line that up. It might be a bit of a pain. This needs to line with that. Bring that down and shift it back like that. And we're going to do the same over here. Ooh, I messed up. Okay, we need to rotate the waist this way, and let's make sure, let's try to lock that back in. That didn't work. That's fine. Rotate this around that way. Same over here, rotate that around. Make sure these are still shifted back. Make sure it's all lined up. We're not done yet. We're gonna take the blaster, we're gonna open that up, make sure these are facing this way, and this part is also a little bit tedious. This needs to go into there, while these basically line up in there. We can get it. Okay, I'll do that off camera. Okay, finally done. There's these two tabs here that this plugs into. So here is the tank mode for the figure. This is a fairly neat looking tank mode. A little bit of a hassle to get it to actually transform, but once you do get a very nice looking tank mode. We get the two dual cannons up here at the top instead of just the one like on the original design. One thing I like about this is that we do have this little top manhole over here. That's a really cool addition to have. I do like some of that detail there as well. A lot of the tank detail on here is really nice. We do also have a little bit of paintwork over here and here. That's also really nice. From underneath, it compacts in pretty well. And once again, the treads on here are amazing. Very satisfying to do. The Legacy figure doesn't even have this. It just has like regular wheels. I do love the variation of all the different colors on here and how they blend together. The purples and blues look really nice. Maybe the crotch piece from the back looks a little weird because you can kind of tell what it is. It is hard to keep everything like properly lined up. That's just how the figure is going to be. Overall, it is a pretty decent tank mode. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and check out this other video over here, which I think you'll probably like.